Okay. All right. What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about why your peptide ads keep getting rejected and what to do about it. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Recently we've started working with a lot of people in the peptide space and that kind of the HRT, TRT, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of
Yep.
people have problems with their ads getting shut down. So today, let's tell people what they can actually do about this, why this happens, and what they can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, so basically the reason why this happens is because you really, first of all, Facebook doesn't love when you're like promoting, like weight loss results, or you're using these supplements because it's not regulated, and there's always bad players in the space, right? Like, this is why they have so many restrictions, is because in the past advertisers have taken advantage and used language that's not true, done things that's not true. They send them to, scammy websites and things of that nature. And so Facebook just doesn't want that. If you think about it from their point of view, they don't want bad players on their platform because it's going to reduce how many people actually use their apps, right? And so they have to play that fine line of, you know, being good for the user and being good for the advertiser. And so they tend to just flag things that are too, things that can be abused essentially.
I guess one question is, what are the things that actually can get abused, or like what do they view as abusive material?
I think anytime that you give, like, for example, time frames that are unrealistic, right? Like, if you let just marketers do whatever they want to do, they'll say lose 60 pounds in 48 hours by using this pill. And I don't know if you remember, do you remember the ads back in the day on Facebook where The Rock was on it, or Conor McGregor? And
Yeah.
it was for supplements. And it'd be like, this one supplement increased The Rock's muscle by 320%, and it showed him as like way bigger than he even is in real life, right? And that's kind of the example of abusing it, is giving unrealistic timelines or unrealistic results, right? Like get skinny in a few hours, things like that. Like marketers will use that if you let them. And so that's basically attaching a timeline that most likely is unrealistic. And the other abuse is, saying a supplement does something that it doesn't, right? So, for example, it'd be like this particular peptide or hormone can help increase whatever, right? Your strength by X amount, and then the supplement doesn't even have anything that's peptide related or hormone related. It's a sugar pill, or it's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So that's what they mean by abusing the system.
So if people aren't abusing the system, what can they actually do? Like, how can people that are running peptide businesses actually use Meta or Facebook to get customers?
Yeah. So what I found with other med spas that actually works is um, using offers that imply results, but they do not, guarantee results or come off as abusive. For example, we've got a client. She does really well. She has a lot of ads that basically promotes this side of the business. What she says is all of her ad copies talk about the end result that the person will receive by using the product. And there's a little bit of tap dancing around it, right? So you have, for example, one of the ad creators says, like, lose your belly fat, right? And Facebook, Instagram approve that. And that's kind of the ad creative, right? Because that's the end result that the customer will get. So instead of saying, get peptide XYZ or get these peptides to buy, which is typically what causes the ad accounts to get flagged, promote the end result, right? Especially if you have an in-person practice, like you have people actually physically coming in. I definitely recommend putting a front end offer and then just promoting the end result, get them through the door, and upsell them the peptides when you get there.
So for clarity, I'll give an example. So we have a client that has a machine that someone can scan on, and it spits out like a 19-page report of what's going on inside of their body.
Mm-hmm.
So we sell a front end offer for $59, and those people come in, and then he sells them his $2,900 to $3,700 packages. So it's kind of like if someone's going in to do some type of weight loss scan, they probably want weight loss. You know, they probably want to
Yes.
lose weight. What are some other examples of, like, if we were to say, hey, you're selling, TRT
Yep.
and weight loss peptides, and you have a physical location in Seattle, Washington, what
Mhm.
would be the exact strategy for that person to do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, if it were my business, right, what I would do is you've got your office space. I would promote an offer that's some level of a scan, whether it becomes come in and get a health scan, right, and you tiptoe around this, a health scan, come and get your vitals checked, come in and check out if your hormones look okay, come and take this assessment for nutrition deficiencies, like, that's what I would be promoting physically, to come in and just say, yeah. For example, like if you did a vitamin deficiency, right? You could essentially say, come in, take a test, see what your vitamins all show, right? Let's see if you're low on these critical vitamins and minerals. It's going to cost you $75 to come do that at my practice. And then when they physically get there, I say, okay, you're deficient on these vitamins and minerals. You probably need some help to generate what you need, right? And that could be testosterone, or that could be
Yep.
hormone replacement therapy. And you go, take these vitamins in addition to these hormones to pull you up. That's what I would do. So I wouldn't lead with, men, do you want to have a higher sex drive or bench press more or whatever? Come get your testosterone check today. I wouldn't lead with that, because you're putting your account at risk with Facebook. They're going to most likely flag that. But what you can do is sell the end result, right? And then do a lot of implying, and then get them to come through the door.
Yeah, it's what I would call the Trojan horse method.
Mm-hmm.
They bring the horse into into Troy, and then they let the guards out. They let the army out afterwards. It's kind of like that. You don't lead with the TRT or the peptides, but you know that the person wants the result that you're promising. And one thing that works really good that you just talked about is like a diagnosis.
Yep.
Like, come in and we're going to do some type of test or exam or whatever it is for you to figure out what's causing you this problem that you've had
Yep.
for so long.
Exactly. That's probably the perfect wording to say that. Essentially, you're figuring out what their problem is, right? You call out their problem. So the problem is, do you have low energy? Are you feeling a lot of brain fog? Do you feel like, you just don't have the same kind of spark that you did 10, 15, 20 years ago? See, those are all the symptoms. So, because the general public, they only care about alleviating their symptoms, right? They don't care what the product is. You know what I mean? Like, you could sell them
Yep.
anything. If it could get rid of the problem, they're interested. So you're not talking to doctors when you're running these
No.
ads. So they don't need to know, like, TRT and it's the most sophisticated version that binds to this part of your muscle. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is, I feel tired, or I don't have the same strength, or I don't have the same sex drive, or I don't have this, and I need to fix that. What do you have to fix that? Right? That's it. So that's what you lead with. You get them in to do a diagnosis, and then when they're there, that's when you go ahead and bring up, you're probably deficient in testosterone, and you need more, or your estrogen levels are too high or too low, or whatever, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think one thing that I've heard people say before is, well, hey, I don't have that physical clinic to be able to do that leading test or that leading thing. What would we say to someone like that wants to do this type of diagnosis where
Yep.
they can have the leading indicators or the symptoms, but they don't know what to fulfill on the back end to sell?
Yeah, so basically it's still the same, an assessment, right, done online. And what you can do is, you're trying to diagnose why they have this problem, right? You can
Yep.
sell, what I like to recommend is, you can sell protocol. You have a unique protocol of how you do things in order to solve the problem that the person has, right? Because remember, once again, I think the people that are selling the hormones and peptides, they overly obsess on thinking that the general public has to know what the name of the peptide is or the name of the hormone that they're promoting when the general public doesn't care, right? Like I think of, for example, she'd kill me for saying this, but my mother-in-law, right? She's very interested in some of the peptides for weight loss. She doesn't know the name of any of them. She just knows, hey, what's the stuff that helps you lose the weight that I'm seeing other people take? You can say the peptide is called Gatorade, and she'll say, okay, great, then I'll take that, right? So the general public
Yep.
doesn't care of what type of in most cases they don't even know. In fact, you can harm your sales by overly talking about the names of the peptides because it can sound intimidating to your customers because
Yeah.
then they're like, yeah, but what is that? Or, wow, that sounds very sophisticated or complicated. That sounds dangerous, right?
Yep.
By promoting the names of the compounds, you could actually be either confusing or scaring off the very same people that you want to buy when you could just as easily just say, would you like this result? I have something for you. I don't even have to say what it is. You just got to find people who want a certain result.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was talking to a buddy of mine who recently started some peptides for weight loss, and he was saying, "Oh, do they have peptides for skin?" And he's like, "I got this rash that I got from the jacuzzi, blah blah blah." So he's just trying to solve his problem of having this rash
That's
on his
it.
skin, and he's just asking, "Is there a solution for it?" It's that
It's
simple.
it's and what would he have done if you said, "Hey, there is." It's called tree leaf 101. You
Yeah.
think he cares what it's called or what it is? All he cares about is getting that rash off his body.
Exactly, and it's as easy as to sell them as saying, "Yeah, there's one you inject every day for 2 months, and it really starts to clear up your skin. It helps your, you know, any blemishes, all that kind of stuff, reduce wrinkles." And all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, okay. What do I got to do to buy it? Where do I get it at?"
That's
Sometimes you
it.
can skip a whole lot of the process just by going problem solution.
That's you can. I think sometimes my favorite quote, I've said this to you a million times. Warren Buffett says, human beings have a need to make things that are simple more complicated. Right. And sometimes it really is just like if we simplify what we're doing, the general public has a problem and they would like a solution. Well, if you can identify what their problem is and you can tell them you have a solution, it doesn't matter the name of whatever it is because they don't care,
Yeah,
right? They just
exactly.
want the problem gone. So that's where I
Yep.
think a lot of the peptides and hormone and med spas and things like that, that's where they fall short, and that's why they keep getting their ad accounts banned or they can't promote their stuff is because they're being too direct with it, and even worse, they think by being direct with what they're selling is going to help them sell more, but it's not, right? And so you don't even need to go down that path, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're almost better off getting, let's say you wanted to have 1,000 customers, right? You're almost better off getting 1,000 people that just really have a big problem to solve than you are going and trying to get the 1,000 people that are quote unquote in market looking for the solution, because the in market people, every one of your competitors is trying to sell to the same exact person with the same exact messaging and the same exact products, etc.
Yep,
Versus the people with the problem, they might not even know what the solution is. They just know that they want to solve the problem. So you
exactly.
can move those people to become
That's
buyers quicker.
that's actually a great point, and I'm happy you brought that up because I would have easily skipped that. You have better opportunities to scale with doing it the way you just said, right? Where you're talking about the problem versus in market. Because in market's like, if someone's like, yes, I want, this particular peptide, I'm purposely not saying it so that the video itself gets distribution. But if you say the actual, like if someone's looking for that, that person's in market. Well, that person's being marketed to all day long, right?
Exactly.
Versus the person that's at home, my mother in law, who's like, I just want to lose weight. She's not looking for any specific peptide. She literally just, it is so top of funnel, top of awareness, where she's like, I just want to lose weight. I don't care if it's a pill, an injection, a drink, a walk up the hill, like whatever it is, I just want it, right? So that's where you give
Yep.
yourself more scale opportunity, and you're actually competing in less competitive spaces.
Exactly right. And it's something as simple as your messaging can change the way that the audience views you. And so your mother-in-law is an example. You might, I don't know how old she is, but for example, let's say she's in her 60s. If you had something that said, if you're a woman in your 60s and you're struggling to lose weight or maintain your weight because of X, Y, and Z, here's our, ABC assessment where we're going to tell
Yep,
you exactly what's going on and what's preventing you from losing weight and give you 3 to 5 options of how to fix it.
correct. And she's gonna respond.
Exactly. Yeah, she's going to respond because you're talking directly to her, her problems, her desired outcome. And then it just is an easy transition because now you just say, hey, this is what's going on. Your metabolism slows, your postmenopause, all these kind of things. And what you need is you need to kickstart your system. And we have the good, the great, and the amazing. Which one of these do you
Yep,
want
that's
based
it.
on,
That's
yeah,
so that's how I think med spa owners and peptide owners and things like that are selling these products. That's where I think they just need to shift their mindset and how they do all their marketing, because it shouldn't matter what you're selling, right? The name of what you're selling shouldn't matter. It's about what does it solve, right? That's it. And so if you're marketing your business that way, then all your language should only be talking about their problems and how you have a solution. It shouldn't, it
yep,
shouldn't be anything more than that. It's just you must feel this way, therefore you must do this, right? So an example, without me saying the peptide, is there's a peptide that almost everyone is aware of in this world, that the way you would attract the next person to take it would be this. Do you have a shoulder injury, a bad back, your joints are messed up, you feel too many aches and pains, but you do not want to take prescription medication, you do not want to take ibuprofen all day, you do not want to do all this stuff, but you're looking for a solution? There is a product out there that is designed specifically to help you recover faster and more naturally. Click the link below to learn more about what that product is. You see, so I never said what it is. You know exactly what peptide I'm talking
yep,
about, right? So anyone who's in market would know that. Anyone who's not in market wouldn't care because I spoke to their problem. So they're just like, yeah,
exactly.
I have a bad back and I need to figure out how to, I don't want to get back surgery. I don't want to go to the doctor every week. I don't want to do any of that. I'm looking for something that's more natural that can help solve my aches and pains or injuries faster. That's it.
Yeah. And I think sometimes as a med spa owner or, peptide brand owner, you got kind of got to dumb it down because what happens is I know this because I've gone through my own peptide journey. So I
Yep.
know that what I know today, if I was talking to the me a year ago, that would all this stuff that I can say now would go right over my head. I wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about. So you got to really start in like first grade with your
Yes.
marketing.
Yeah. First grade. And that's the thing. It's the age old, you know, you're speaking too much in the lingo of your own
Yeah,
industry when you should be speaking the language of the customer, right?
exactly.
I mean, think about, even when you see the commercials for prescription meds, right, on TV, when you
Yep.
watch or look at them, they're usually showing someone very happy that looks like the person that needs this, that
Yep.
demonstrates they had a problem and now it's gone. No one
Yep.
remembers the name of the prescription medication. They say it in there, but not really, right? And no one says like, "Oh, well, I bought that because the name of that medication was this."
No.
Right? They only bought it because the ad says, "If you have this problem, call us now." That's, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
they're not saying the medical term for the medicine, and that's not what's selling them. They're not sold on that. They're sold on the simplest promise of all time, which is you got a problem, I got the answer.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep. And then last question is, for these med spa owners, how do they go about like testing this stuff and trying to figure it out without getting just shut down and losing a bunch of money? How do they know what the right offer is and how to go through the process?
Yeah, my recommendation for that is you have it has to be a layered approach. Okay, so if it's a brand new ad account and you haven't built history with Facebook, then what you have to do is you roll it out slowly. So you have one offer that's very general, right? And your entire intent is to see if it gets approved and if it can stay approved. And then once it does, then you move to a little bit more of an aggressive wording, right? And then if that gets approved, then you go to the next one. The big mistake everyone makes is they go straight. I mean, this is a mistake almost all of them make. They go straight for the kill. Like, hey, I'm selling this exact peptide, lose weight today, no prescription needed. Like every flag word you can imagine that Facebook does not
Yeah.
want you to say. They say it right away. And you better believe if it's a newer ad account or you don't have a lot of history and spend, they're gonna just shut that account down now. Right? So the way the way to figure it out is to slowly roll out more and more aggressive language. So you start simple, and then your second test a little more aggressive, third test a little bit more aggressive. Yes, it requires some patience, but do you want your ad account to be active or not? And if you want to promote these products on Facebook, you have to do that.
Yeah, no way around it. There's no magic bullet. You got to go through the process. And last thing, if someone wanted our help with this and wanted us to help them to promote their products or services, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, they basically, just go to fitchemarketing.com, go on the contact us page, book a call, book an appointment. We'll audit your account. We'll take a look at everything. If you don't have anything, we'll help you set it all up from start to finish. There's no better way than to start with someone who knows what they're doing versus you just trying it on your own, because you most likely will get your ad account restricted and your page restricted and have to deal with a bunch of stuff you don't want to deal with anyways. So you do that, we'll audit your account. Or if you had an account, it got restricted and you don't know how to advertise, we can fix that too. Or if you had another agency and they won't give you access to your new ad account, there's different ways to get around that. So there's always a loophole. There's always a loophole to fix whatever problem you have. So all you have to do is, if you run into that, book a call with us, fityourmarketing.com, go to the contact us page, book a call, and we'll make sure you're taken care of.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you, Greg, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Hey, we'll see you.